They sold you a dream and you bought it. They told you that the ultimate goal in life is to own a piece of real estate. They told you to save 20% of your income, put it down on a rental property, and become a landlord. Let me tell you the brutal reality of being a traditional landlord. It is a second job disguised as passive income. When you buy a house to rent it out, you are buying a roof that will eventually leak. You are buying an HVAC system that will eventually fail in the middle of July. You are buying the liability of property taxes, homeowners insurance, and a 30-year mortgage attached to your personal credit profile. If your tenant decides to flush a diaper down the toilet at 2 in the morning on a Sunday, guess whose phone rings? Yours. You own the asset, which means you own the liability. What if I told you there is a way to extract all the cash flow from a $500,000 piece of real estate without taking on a single ounce of the liability? What if you could generate $3,000 a month in pure net profit from a property you do not even own, using a strategy that requires less capital than buying a used Honda Civic? This is not a loophole. This is a fundamental financial principle utilized by Wall Street and multinational corporations. It is called rental arbitrage. Today, I'm going to give you the exact, step-by-step masterclass on how to build a six-figure short-term rental empire on Airbnb without ever applying for a mortgage, without ever going to a closing table, and without ever owning a single piece of drywall. This is Property Path. Throw away everything you thought you knew about real estate. Let's get to work. To understand the power of this blueprint, you must first understand the definition of arbitrage. Arbitrage is the act of controlling a product in one market and simultaneously selling it in another market at a higher price, pocketing the difference. In the real estate world, we execute this by leasing a property on the long-term residential market and simultaneously renting it out on the short-term hospitality market. Let us look at the exact math of how this works in a standard American city. You go onto Zillow or apartments.com. You find a luxury 2-bedroom apartment in a highly desirable downtown area or a single-family home near a major hospital or corporate hub. The landlord is asking $2,000 a month for a 12-month lease. If you rent that apartment, furnish it, and list it on Airbnb or VRBO, you are no longer competing in the residential housing market. You are competing in the hospitality market. You are competing against Marriott and Hilton. In that exact same city, a hotel room costs $150 a night. But a hotel room is just a bed and a bathroom. You are offering a full 2-bedroom apartment with a kitchen, a living room, and a washer and dryer. You list your apartment for $175 a night. If you maintain a conservative 70% occupancy rate, meaning the property is booked 21 days out of the month, your gross revenue is $3,675. You pay your $2,000 rent to the landlord. You pay $200 for utilities and high-speed internet. Your net profit is $1,475 every single month. You are generating roughly $18,000 a year in pure cash flow, and you do not own the building. You do not pay the property taxes. If the roof caves in, you call the landlord and they write the check to fix it. You control the cash flow of a $500,000 asset, and your only liability is a 12-month piece of paper. But right now, the amateurs and the cowards in the comments are furiously typing. They are screaming, "This is illegal. This is subletting." If the landlord catches you listing their apartment on Airbnb, they will evict you, keep your security deposit, and throw all your furniture on the street. Listen to me very carefully. They are 100% correct. If you sign a standard residential lease, sneak behind the landlord's back, and illegally list the property on Airbnb, you are an idiot. You are playing a stupid game, and you will win a stupid prize. The neighbors will complain, the landlord will find out, you will be hit with an eviction on your public record, and your business will be destroyed. That is how amateurs operate. Professionals do not sneak around. Professionals operate entirely in the light. Professionals use the ultimate weapon of the arbitrager, the corporate lease. You are not going to approach landlords as a desperate tenant looking for a place to live. You are going to approach them as a B2B, a business-to-business partner. You are going to form an LLC. You are going to build a professional website. You are going to call yourself a corporate housing provider. When you find a property on Zillow that fits your mathematical criteria, you pick up the phone and you call the landlord or the property manager. You do not say, "Hi, I want to rent your house," and put it on Airbnb. If you say the word Airbnb to a traditional landlord, they will hang up the phone. They associate Airbnb with college frat parties and property destruction. Here is the exact script you use. Write this down. Hi, my name is John, and I am the operations manager for a local corporate housing company. We provide fully furnished, mid-term and short-term accommodations for traveling nurses, corporate executives, and families relocating to the area. I saw your property on Elm Street, and it perfectly fits the criteria for our corporate clients. We would love to lease your property on a multi-year commercial lease. You have their attention. Now, you must pitch them the value proposition. You must explain why renting to your LLC is mathematically superior to renting to a traditional family. You say, Mr. Landlord, if you rent to a traditional tenant, what happens? They move in a massive dog that scratches your hardwood floors. They punch holes in the drywall. They stop paying rent in month 6, and it takes you 4 months to evict them. You don't see the inside of your property for a year. If you lease to my company, we become your perfect tenant. First, your rent is guaranteed by my corporate entity on the first of every month via autopay. We never miss a payment. Second, to maintain our 5-star standards for our corporate clients, my professional cleaning crew will be in your property 2 to 3 times a week. We will keep your asset in showroom condition. Third, we handle all minor maintenance under $200. If a toilet gets clogged or a light bulb goes out, we do not bother you. We send our handyman and we pay for it. And finally, we will install Ring cameras on the exterior and noise-aware decibel monitors on the interior to ensure absolute security. You are solving every single pain point the landlord has. You are offering them truly passive income. You are offering them a professionally maintained asset and guaranteed rent. When you pitch it like a transaction engineer, 80% of landlords will still say no, they are old school. They are afraid of new models. That is fine. You do not need 80% to say yes. You need one to say yes. It is a numbers game. You call 20 landlords, you get 19 rejections, and you get one yes. That one yes is worth $20,000 a year in passive cash flow. Once the landlord agrees, you sign a corporate lease addendum. This is a legally binding document that explicitly gives your LLC the absolute right to sublease the property as a short-term rental. You have written permission. Your risk of eviction is now completely eliminated. Now, we enter the setup phase. This is where you deploy your capital. The beauty of rental arbitrage is the low barrier to entry. If you want to buy a $400,000 house, you need $80,000 in cash for a 20% down payment, plus closing costs. To acquire that exact same house via arbitrage, you only need the first month's rent and the security deposit. If the rent is $2,000, your acquisition cost is $4,000, but the house is empty. You must furnish it to a premium standard. Amateurs go to IKEA and buy the cheapest, flimsiest furniture they can find. The beds squeak. The couches are uncomfortable. The guests leave 3-star reviews, the algorithm buries their listing on page 10, and they go bankrupt in 3 months. Professionals understand that on Airbnb, you are not selling a bed. You are selling a digital photograph. People book with their eyes. Your cover photo must stop them from scrolling. You spend money where it matters and you save money where it doesn't. You buy a high-quality, memory foam mattress from Amazon because sleep quality dictates your reviews. You buy a massive, visually striking headboard. You buy premium, white hotel-style sheets because white sheets prove to the guest that the bed is bleach clean. You buy a massive, colorful piece of canvas art for the living room to make the cover photo pop. But the dining room table? You buy that slightly used on Facebook Marketplace for $100. The coffee maker? You buy a standard Keurig. You balance premium focal points with budget-friendly utility items. To fully furnish a 2-bedroom apartment, you should expect to spend between $4,000 and $6,000. If you add your first month's rent, your security deposit, and your furniture costs, your total all-in startup capital is roughly $10,000. For $10,000, you have launched a fully functioning hospitality business. But what if you do not have $10,000 in cash? What if you are sitting there with $0 in your checking account? This is where you leverage the American credit system. You apply for a 0% April business credit card. Banks like Chase and American Express offer cards with 0% interest for the first 12 to 15 months. You put the entire $6,000 furniture budget on that credit card. You are using the bank's money for free. You launch the Airbnb, the property generates $1,500 a month in net profit. You take that profit and you aggressively pay down the 0% credit card over the first 4 months. By month 5, the debt is completely wiped out. You own the furniture free and clear. You control the cash flowing asset, and you did it entirely with other people's money. This is financial velocity. This is how the wealthy manufacture money out of thin air. Now we move to the final and most critical phase, automation. If you do not automate this business, you have simply created a terrible, low-paying hospitality job for yourself. If you are the one cleaning the toilets, washing the sheets, and messaging guests at midnight because they cannot find the lockbox code, you will burn out in 30 days. Arbitrage is only a wealth-building vehicle if it is completely passive. You must build systems. First, you automate the pricing. Amateurs guess what their nightly rate should be. They set it at $150 a night and leave it there for the entire year. They leave thousands of dollars on the table during high-demand weekends, and they sit empty during the slow season because their price is too high. Professionals use dynamic pricing algorithms. You link your Airbnb account to a software like Price Labs or Wheelhouse. These algorithms analyze millions of data points, hotel occupancies, local concerts, flight data, and historical trends, and they automatically adjust your nightly rate every single day. If there is a massive conference in your city, the software automatically raises your rate to $300 a night. If it is a dead Tuesday in November, it drops the rate to $99 to secure a booking. The algorithm removes human emotion and maximizes your revenue. Second, you automate the communication. You use a channel manager software like Guesty or Hospitable. You write out templates for the 5 standard messages every guest receives: the booking confirmation, the check-in instructions with the digital door code, the mid-stay checkup, the checkout instructions, and the review request. The software automatically sends these messages at the exact right time. You never touch your phone. Third, and most importantly, you automate the turnover. You do not hire a standard residential house cleaner. You hire a specialized short-term rental cleaning crew. They are your eyes and ears on the ground. You sync your Airbnb calendar directly to the cleaning crew's software. When a guest checks out at 11 in the morning, the cleaners automatically receive a notification. They go to the property, they clean it to a hotel standard. They restock the toilet paper and coffee pods, they take photos of the clean unit to prove it is ready, and they leave before the next guest checks in at 4 in the afternoon. You pay them out of the cleaning fee that the guest pays. It costs you absolutely nothing. You have now built a machine. The guest books automatically. The algorithm prices it automatically. The software messages them automatically. The cleaners turn it over automatically. You spend maybe 2 hours a week managing the system from your laptop, from anywhere in the world, while the property generates massive cash flow. Let us zoom out and look at the macro reality of what you have built. The person who watched this video with a victim mentality is going to close the tab and say, "My market is too saturated. Landlords will never say yes to me. I don't want to deal with furniture." They will take their $10,000, put it in a traditional savings account, and make $400 a year in interest while inflation destroys their purchasing power. But the transaction engineer, the person who actually understands leverage, they are going to take that exact same $10,000. They are going to secure a corporate lease. They are going to automate the systems. That one property will generate $15,000 to $20,000 a year in net profit. They will take that $20,000 and instead of buying a depreciating liability like a new car, they will use it to secure 2 more corporate leases. Now they have 3 properties. Now they are making $60,000 a year in semi-passive income. Then they scale to 5 properties, then 10. With 10 arbitrage units, you are generating over $150,000 a year in net cash flow. You have completely replaced your corporate salary. You have bought back your time. You have achieved absolute financial freedom. And you did it without ever taking on a 30-year mortgage. You did it without ever paying for a new roof. You did it by understanding that in the modern economy, controlling the asset is infinitely more profitable than owning the asset. The blueprint is laid out in front of you. The math is undeniable. The software exists to automate the entire process. The only variable left in the equation is your willingness to execute. It is going to be uncomfortable. You are going to have to make cold calls to property managers. You are going to get rejected. You are going to have to spend a weekend building IKEA furniture and hanging artwork until your hands blister. But on the other side of that temporary discomfort is a life of absolute financial sovereignty. I want you to take action the second this video ends. Go to Zillow. Search for properties in your city that have been on the rental market for more than 30 days. Those landlords are losing money every single day their property sits empty. They are your targets. Draft your corporate lease script. Pick up the phone. Start pitching. Stop asking for permission to be wealthy. The market rewards execution, and it mercilessly punishes hesitation. I will see you at the top.